we're gonna show you our top 10 board games for couples, including the single 2-player board game that we would bring with us on a desert island.
I'm Benit.
I'm Christine.
And we are married. Now, a couple of years after we got married, we realized that board games constituted more than just Monopoly and Risk. And since then, we've been on a journey of discovery together to realize the world of wonder that is board games.
So in no particular order, here are our top 10 board games for couples.
Sorry, were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say that before we dive in, let us know what your favorite board game for couples is and which ones you're excited to try in the future. Were those camels?
Jaipur! In Jaipur, you are a merchant of goods trying to win the Maharaja's favor. The Maharaja, however, is a picky customer and will only bestow upon one of you his seal of approval.
Jaipur is a quick hand management and trading card game where you win by having the highest value goods after 3 rounds.
2 out of 3.
If you win 2 out of 3 rounds, you win! When the game starts and the marketplace opens, you take turns either taking, trading, or selling goods. The more valuable your goods, the more points you get.
Now, here's the thing. When you sell goods, you also get a bonus for the number of goods that you sell. So the more goods you sell, the more points you get at the end of the game. So sometimes it might make sense to trade more of the cheaper goods, like spices, at the expense of, well, the more expensive goods, like silver and gold.
Also, you can use camels to move larger batches of goods, but you might want to hold on to them as they could give you a bonus in the end.
I like Jaipur because it's a quick 30-minute game that's a really good mixture of strategy and luck, which means that when I win, I can pretend like I'm really good at the game, and when I lose, it's just bad luck.
You have a lot of that lately.
Shut up.
I like it because I constantly have to time my moves. If I sell too early, then I miss out on those good bonuses, but if I sell too late, then you're just gonna come and take exactly what I need right beneath my nose.
Also, it's cheap. You can usually find it for around 20 bucks plus shipping. So if you're looking for a game to start your collection, you could do a lot worse than Jaipur.
Quick comment on prices. We have Amazon affiliate links in the description below. So if you do want any of these board games, then we would really appreciate using those links because it does support the channel. But we want you to be playing these board games. So if you do happen to find it cheaper somewhere else, then buy it there. And then maybe let people know in the comments where you found it. Everyone wins!
The next board game on our list of the top 10 board games for couples is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. In Jaws of the Lion, you are a member of the Jaws of the Lion, which is an elite squad of mercenaries in the city of Gloomhaven, and you are hired to look into a missing persons case, which then snowballs into something a lot more mysterious and sinister. Can anything snowball into something mysterious? I don't know.
It can in this game. Jaws of the Lion is a fully cooperative fantasy exploration and adventure game. And it's a standalone prequel to one of the most popular and highest rated board games of all time, Gloomhaven.
In Jaws of the Lion, each player will take on the role of a given member of the Jaws of the Lion, with their own characteristics as well as backstory, and also their own special abilities, and fight through a series of missions to figure out what in the world is going on in Gloomhaven.
Throughout the campaign, you'll meet different monsters who all have their own abilities and ways of making your life miserable. As you keep playing, you'll gain experience, different equipment like this potion here, and also better cards so that it's a little bit more likely that you'll survive.
While we absolutely love hammering each other in a game of Jaipur or some of the other board games that we'll share with you, we also really enjoy a good cooperative experience, and Jaws of the Lion offers that in the most rich, comprehensive, and approachable way that you could imagine. While sorry, what's going on here?
We're cooperating.
While Jaws of the Lion is essentially the little brother of its predecessor, it still is a big game, and it feels like a big game in all the right ways. Just discovering your character and your character's abilities and how your character's abilities interact with the other character's abilities is deeply satisfying. And then on top of that, you have the ever-evolving city map. You can buy gadgets and gear from your local weapons and potions corner shop. All of it just makes it feel like a complete experience.
Like, personally, I've never really been into these dungeon crawler role-playing games, but what makes this work for me is it has such a gentle learning curve. And I mean, there's still a lot of rules you need to learn, but the tutorials, which cover the first few missions of the game, it feeds you exactly what you need when you need it and no sooner.
It is worth mentioning that Jaws of the Lion is a 1 to 4 player game, but we've been playing it just the 2 of us, and it's so much fun.
The box says 30 minutes per person per game. Our sessions would probably take about an hour and a half to 2 hours with setup and cleanup included.
You can find Jaws of the Lion for about $40, and to be honest, there's a lot of game in there for $40.
It's worth it.
It's a good game.
Put it on your Christmas list.
It's like March.
You don't have a Christmas list? Now, if doom and gloom aren't your cup of tea, but you're still looking for an intriguing and aesthetically pleasing board game, then Azul might be for you.
In Azul, you are a tile-laying artist commissioned by the King of Portugal to decorate his palace with elaborate Moorish tiles. And you want to do that in the most efficient way possible without wasting tiles, because, you know.
Azul! Azul is another 4-player board game that plays really well with just 2 people. In this abstract strategy game, the players take turns drafting tiles from the marketplace to complete these elaborate patterns for the palace walls. If you manage to complete certain patterns or sets, you get extra points. But if you're forced to buy some tiles you can't use, then you'll lose points. At the end of the game, the player with the most points wins. Azul
is an absolutely gorgeous game, and as you start filling out your wall with these beautiful little tiles, the sensation can reasonably be compared to completing a teeny tiny DIY project, but at a fraction of the effort it would require you to paint your kitchen cabinets or refurbish your grandma's old antique wardrobe. But after you've played a couple of rounds and you really start appreciating just how intricately your actions impact those of the people that you're playing with, that's where the game really shines.
Stop looking over here, okay? You got your own thing to worry about over there.
Picking a tile that I know that I will need and fits into my strategy, but also negatively impacts you is the reason that I play board games. No, stop it.
You really want them.
Yeah, but you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
I don't care. Not at this point. What are you looking for in a board game? I mean, apart from having a good time with your significant other or a good friend or whoever it is that you're playing with, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah. If you are interested in Azul, then it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play, and you can find it for around $28 plus shipping. So, not expensive if you have $28 plus shipping.
More visitors to the dungeon. Why not stay a while?
Next up on our list of board games is 5 Minute Dungeon.
You are heroes and you're trying to escape a horrifying dungeon full of monsters, obstacles, and terrible events. You only have 5 minutes and a limited number of cards, so communication, teamwork, and speed is key for your survival.
5 Minute Dungeon is a real-time cooperative card game. It's for 2 to 5 players, and although it can be quite challenging playing with fewer players, we really enjoy playing it just the 2 of us.
To start the game, you pick out which boss you want to defeat, and you add as many dungeon cards to it as directed. Here's as 25. Then you pick out which hero you want to be, ninja,
barbarian,
and you ready your hero deck. You pick 5 cards, because it's a 2-player game, and you're ready to go. You set the timer for 5 minutes.
Yep, and the game actually comes with an app that both helps kind of set the tone for the game and keep track of the time.
1 minute to go.
The app is hilarious.
Each dungeon card can be defeated by committing the set combination of hero cards.
Yep.
Sometimes you have them on hand, other times you have to keep discarding to find what you need.
Swords, shield.
Oh!
We
Hey.
got it.
That was not even scripted. There we go.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, it was. If you make it all the way through all these dungeon cards and defeat the boss, you win. But if you both run out of hero cards, you're lost in the dungeon forever. I love playing this game because it's challenging and it helps us work together, which is probably pretty healthy after a few games of Azul. 5 Minute Dungeon, however, is different from most of the board games that I've ever played. It brings a level of franticness into the game that you don't really experience when you usually play board games.
Ah! Go ahead. Obstacle, obstacle. Okay, I've got
2 minutes remaining.
Obstacle.
stop time.
Timer stopped.
Grab me a slice too.
Despite its setting, 5 Minute Dungeon is absolutely stuffed with humor, from the aforementioned app to the very hilariously illustrated and named bosses and enemies.
What I also love about it is that it's a short game. You can really just play it in 5 to 7 minutes, and you still get that sensational experience you would get from playing a much longer board game. And if you lose, you just play again.
Yeah, and at $14, it's one of the cheapest games off of our list of top 10 games for couples, so maybe worth checking out.
Next up is 7 Wonders Duel.
In 7 Wonders Duel, you take charge of developing an ancient civilization, or like a civilization an empire of civilizations, civilization conglomerate. You're building wonders from all sorts of different ancient civilizations and trying to beat your opponent on scientific proficiency, militaristic prowess, or the sheer wondrousness of your conglomerate thingy.
What he said.
Nailed it. Seven Wonders Duel is a 2-player card drafting strategy tug-of-war that's based on the classic Seven Wonders card game. Here, you have this arrangement that's set up at the start of each age or round, where you select a card, gaining its bonus, and also uncover new cards as you go along.
The cards represent buildings and they either give you victory points, military advancements, or some resources that'll help you buy even better cards later on in the game. We also have the Wonders, which give you pretty much the same things as the cards, just more and better. Seven Wonders Duel is played over 3 ages, and the player with the most points at the end of the 3rd age wins.
Unless you never get to the 3rd age. You see, every time you build a military card, you edge your way 1 step closer to military victory and an early end to the game. You can also Aristotle your way to an early victory by having the right combination of science cards. So there are 3 different ways to win the game.
I was hesitant though about this game, but that's because I just love the original Seven Wonders so much. But now that I've played both, this one is better.
I agree.
It has the same feel though as the original Seven Wonders, but it's more intricate. It feels like more stuff is happening.
I love the fact that there are 3 paths to victory. When you start a game, you never know where you're gonna end up. It's like a box of chocolates, only a box of civilization wonders. Every move that you make evokes considerations on so many different levels. So for example, when you're building a science card, that's a good thing. You get points, you get bonuses potentially, and it can ultimately win you the game. But every action I take, as carefully considered as it may be, will potentially leave me exposed to you in other areas due to all of the actions that I'm not taking. And that, I think, is the beauty of this game.
It'll cost you about $25 plus shipping, and it'll give you 30 minutes of awesome fun times per game.
In Arkham Horror, you are an investigator trying to uncover the mysteries of the creepy events taking place in the New England town of Arkham. You and your partner discover and battle cultists and horrific monsters, which lead you to uncover the secrets of the Ancient Ones. You will explore different locations to uncover clues to save the town and hopefully make it out alive.
Although you definitely won't make it out without a few scars.
Arkham Horror, the card game, is a 1 to 2 player cooperative role-playing adventure game with deck building mechanics. The game is set up as a campaign with 3 scenarios or missions, and your characters evolve with each progressive scenario.
You take on the role as one of 5 investigators, all with their own unique backstories, strengths, and weaknesses. This one, her mom went insane when she was little, then she went to an orphanage, and then she left there very early to live on her own. Not an easy way to start your life.
No.
It's true.
That's true. That is true.
And there's something with that necklace, but I'm not going into that.
Better not.
Before you start playing, you have to build your deck. Now this is going to be full of a lot of different skills, assets, and events. And then you set out to investigate. As you move from place to place, you're constantly balancing whether you should search the location for clues to advance the scenario, or if you're gonna deal with all the monsters that keep popping up trying to drain your health and sanity. I really like Arkham Horror, the card game, because it was the first role-playing card game I tried as an adult, and it opened up a whole new world for me. Just the gore and horror and blood and all that stuff. It's horrible and yet fascinating all at the same time.
It's funny because you don't like watching horror movies or shows at all.
No, but here I can kind of pause it for as long as I need. But it is still as long as a horror movie would be. It's about 2 hours, so it's one of the longer games on our list of top 10 board games for couples.
Yeah, and since we're on the topic, you can usually find the game for about $35 online. For me, the game really captures the bleak feel of a Lovecraftian narrative. There's plenty of suspense and horror, and you never really know what's awaiting you as the story progresses. Oh my gosh!
Blokus Duo. In Blokus Duo, you are not a street urchin or an assassin or a tile layer. It's just a game made of squares.
Blokus Duo is the 2-player version of the abstract strategy board game Blokus. It has a very Tetris-y feel, but with the added element of strategy and sweet, sweet sabotage. When Benjamin Franklin coined the phrase easy to learn, difficult to master, he was thinking of Blokus Duo. In Blokus Duo, players take turns placing these Tetris-shaped pieces onto the grids, The only rules being that one or more of the corners of your newly placed piece need to touch one or more of the corners of your previously placed pieces, and the sides can't touch. And that's it. That's the whole game. The player that at the end of the game has managed to get rid of most of their pieces and cover the biggest part of the board wins. Wait, can I not do anything else in this game?
I can. What's this doing there? I don't think you can put him there.
Blokus is one of the oldest games in our collection. I still love it. It's still one of my all-time favorites. And Blokus Duo is a really good two-player iteration of that game.
I'm constantly trying to figure out how to turn my pieces so I can fit all of them on the board while trying to block you from as much of it as I can. It really brings out the inner toddler in me, like mine. I don't really need this, but I don't want you to have it.
Mine.
A game of Blokus Duo is a quick 15-minute affair, and it only costs about $10 online plus shipping. $10. Board games can be expensive, but there's so much fun to be had for very little money.
Okay guys, we promised we'd tell you which game we would bring to a desert island. It would have to be a cooperative game.
I'd enjoy playing a competitive game, but if we just have one game, I think we'd probably end up moving to separate parts of the desert island. I think it needs to be something that keeps your noggin sharp.
Yeah, so you'd keep being smart and do smart things.
Yeah, and not go completely insane. We've seen what that looks like. And also, infinite replayability. Something that you can play over and over and over again and it would give you a different experience.
Yeah, because you were not going anywhere. This is a desert island. You're stuck. The last thing is that it has to be a game where you don't need all the pieces to play the game. So if you lose a couple of pieces in a typhoon, then you're still okay.
Card gets eaten by a tortoise or a porpoise or an elephant.
A desert island?
No. That's why our two-player desert island board game is Monopoly Gamer.
That's why our two-player desert island board game is Codenames Duet. Codenames Duet is a cooperative two-player version of the ever-popular party deduction game Codenames. And holding true to its party game roots, it's super easy to set up and start playing. First, set up your agent cards. Place your key card in the holder, then identify your agents. Give your partner a clue.
Lockdown 3.
Then it's time to uncover the 15 agents, all while avoiding the assassin.
One of the biggest beefs I had with the original game was the amount of downtime you could spend waiting for your teammates to come up with the right clues or waiting for the other team to guess before it was your turn again. Don't get me wrong, I love Codenames, but what Codenames Duet does so really well is it allows you to spend more time doing the things that made the original game so good.
They've also spruced up the design a bit by adding some funny new character tiles to the game. It gives it a little bit more flavor. You can find the game for about $14 plus shipping, and you can play it in about 15 to 30 minutes.
What are we on?
Number 9.
Number 9, but in no particular order, Raptor. A group of scientists is in the jungle hunting down a group of raptors for science. Meanwhile, Mama Raptor is none too happy about having her family life and habitat disturbed.
Clever girl.
Too obvious?
Yeah.
Raptor is an asymmetric card-driven strategy game with grid movement. The game plays over a series of rounds with each player picking a single card that determines his or her actions for that round. Now, the player who has the lowest value card, in this case you with 3, goes first, with the second player gaining action or movement points that are equal to the difference in the value of the 2 cards. So 5 minus 3 is 2.
Mama Raptor can hide to gain an attack advantage. She can also call in her babies and strike fear into scientists, who in turn can move by jeep, use tranquilizers, or start fires, all to limit the Raptor's movement.
I like Raptor because it's a quick game with a short learning curve and a number of different ways to both play and try to win the game. As a scientist, for example, you're constantly thinking about, do I start a fire here to try to restrict the raptor's movements? Do I try to put the baby raptors to sleep and capture them? Or do I try to shoot mommy raptor, all the while trying not to get eaten? So you're always on your toes, which is a lot of fun.
Also, trying to balance your own card strategy while also trying to remember what you have on hand and what you might be playing is super challenging. You should start something like this.
She's played number 4 and 5 and 7. So there's a 62.7% chance that she will try to move and take out my second scientist.
And ends something like this.
But I think what really brings this game together is the theme. It's really easy and fun to put yourself into the jungle and like this chase between Mama Raptor and her kids and the scientists.
I mean, I can 100% relate to this theme. Maybe not being a raptor as such, but being a protective mom and ripping apart anyone trying to hurt my kids, definitely.
I believe you. Also, there's just something inherently funny about Mama Raptor going into hiding in the middle of the game. Plus, you know she's gonna pop up somewhere really inconvenient.
Don't. Raptor costs about $28 and it's a quick playing time of 30 minutes. Now before we reveal the last game on our list of top 10 board games for couples, please let us know if you liked the video. If you did, then hit the like button.
Now we are working on a few more videos at the moment, including our top 10 board games for families and our top 10 games of all times. So please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when we release those. All of this, of course, helps YouTube's algorithm to put these videos in front of more people. But honestly, we really just like to hear your feedback. So a single like or a single comment really means a lot to us. Thanks.
Thanks. For our last game, we're leaving planet Earth entirely. Star Realms is a space-themed deck-building game where the players compete to rule the galaxy through trade, resource gathering, and combat.
In Star Realms, you start out with 50 authority or health points, which is basically what this game is all about. Bringing your opponent's authority down to 0 while keeping your own intact. You start off with a fleet of basic trading and fighting vessels, and you gradually trade your way up to becoming a force to be reckoned with.
There are two different types of cards in the game. There are ships and bases. Ships usually are really good at attacking, whereas bases are better at protecting your authority. These two different types of cards come in different factions as well. The game has 4 different factions, and if you happen to have 2 cards from the same faction in your hand, that usually releases a bonus. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 23. Attacking you for 23. Yeah, seriously. I really like this game because of the theme. It has really cool pictures, and how cool is it to be ruler of the stars?
You say as you pick the blob card.
Well, it's because it had attack of 6.
Well, yeah. I like it because it's a small game that packs a punch. It takes 15 to 20 minutes to play. If you live in a part of the galaxy where you can actually travel, then it's a perfect game to bring with you on your travels.
Star Realms is loads of fun and super cheap. You can usually find it for around $14 plus shipping.
Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Please share this video with all your couple friends. You get them hooked on board games, and then they start finding new board games for you to play, and then all of a sudden you have all sorts of different board games to play with your friends. So it creates this kind of a domino effect. Pun intended. So better get that snowball rolling sooner rather than later. See you next time.